Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cassie Vela and I'm a realtor and homesteader here in San Antonio, Texas. But what we're going to talk about today is kind of tangential, I would say, to homesteading, and that is being prepared in case of an emergency. In the last couple of years here in Texas, we've had two events where we were not able to leave the house to get more food and supplies, and maybe didn't have food, electricity or water. We had Snowvid. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that, where we were all snowed in, and we had to make do. That was very much a survival situation. And then of course at the beginning of the cough in 2020, there was a lot of panic buying and store shelves were empty. And a lot of us had a hard time getting access to food to purchase. And so that was several weeks of a limited food supply. So what I'm going to talk about today would serve you in either of those situations. It did serve me in both of those situations very well. But before I start, I don't want it to seem like I'm making like a prepper video, although I'm not certainly making fun of preppers at all. I'm just saying this is really geared towards everyday people. If you're somebody who only has a few days worth of food in your home, this video is for you, because what we're going to talk about is having enough food on hand to feed your family for 2 weeks and for less than $50. And so when I was trying to think of, when I was first getting started, okay, I need to have some food on hand in case there's an emergency, there were a few factors that I wanted to consider. I didn't want to go the route of like emergency food or MREs or things like that, because I hate wasting money and I hate wasting food. So what I wanted to do was have a food storage solution where it would be food that we would eventually eat either way, even if there never was a disaster, or even if there never was food shortages or anything like that where we needed it. It's something that we would eat on a regular basis anyway. And so that was really important to me. I also wanted it to be cost effective, because I know that, we're already spending a lot of money on food, and it's hard to stockpile additional food if you're barely able to meet your grocery bill as it is. So I wanted something that is cheap. And then I wanted something that's easy to store. So something that doesn't take up a lot of space. Because I know that if you live in an apartment, or even if you live in a house, a lot of us have limited storage. And so something that would not take up a lot of room is what I wanted to create. And so this that I'm about to share with you, it will feed a family of 4 for 16 days for less than $50. And it only takes up a few square feet. It's just in this like sort of standard tote. These I got all from Costco, but of course you could get them anywhere. And I want to say that these are things that my family eats often. These are kind of our staples. And so these are not sitting like out in the garage and I'm never going to eat them unless it snows us in again. These are things that I put into rotation and eat these things on a daily basis. And we just keep enough stocked to where when I run out of the bag of rice that I'm currently eating through, there's one in the garage ready to go. I can swap them out, get another one from Costco. So I kind of always have an extra set of our staples. That way, again, we're eating through them. It's stuff we're used to eating. I think it's really important, like during the both cough and Snowvid, my kids were used to eating the things that we ate. They weren't complaining. They weren't, like, what's going on? This is stuff we already ate. So you may want to pick things that your family typically eats, that your kids like, things like that. But these are just some ideas to get you started. So the first thing is a huge thing of oatmeal. So I got this from Costco for $8. And so it is 2 5-pound bags, so 10 pounds of oatmeal. I like oatmeal because it stores really well. It's very versatile and it's very easy to prepare. So during the, when we were snowed in, our electricity was very unreliable. It kind of came off and went on, and it would come on for like 10, 15 minutes and then turn off again for several hours. And so what we did to get through is as soon as the lights would come on, we would run to the kitchen and I would boil a kettle of water and a pot of water. I would try to boil a lot of water, right? Because I don't know when I'm going to be able to boil water again, right? And then I had all of these like thermoses that I used to hold the boiling water at boiling water temperature. And then we had so much oatmeal that we were able to add nuts and dried fruit and honey and maple syrup and things like that too to make it taste good, but it was really easy to cook. So oatmeal is like my favorite thing, and I eat it every day. I love oatmeal, so I get it. You might not like it that much, but it's so easy to prepare in a disaster situation. As long as you can get some hot water, you can have oatmeal. And it's so cheap because this whole thing was $8. $8 for almost 17,000 calories. So that is a pretty good bang for the buck. Again, with something that's really easy to cook and very versatile. So that's my first thing. And then obviously the second thing is beans and rice. So that's like kind of your basic 101, survival food, right, is beans and rice. I really like to get just the 25 pound or 50 pound bag. If my husband's with me, I get the 50 pound bag. I can't lift it by myself. So I always have to get the 25 pound bags if he's not there. But this bag of rice from Costco this morning, so, it's January 10th, 2021. Sorry, 2022. Oh, I'm not used to that yet. This bag of rice, 25 pounds, was $8.49. So less than $9 for 37,500 calories. So that is a huge bang for your buck. It's white rice, so it will store so long. And one thing that I would recommend, I don't like to keep it in the bags that it comes in, because then, water or bugs could get in here. I take it and I put it into food grade storage buckets that have a lid. And that makes it easier to like scoop it out of when I'm cooking on a regular basis. I just go over, I have my 1 cup measuring cup already in the bucket, and I just throw it in the Instant Pot and we're good to go. Same thing with the beans. So the beans, I think they were $18. I didn't get a picture when I bought them this morning of the price tag, but I want to say $18. If I'm wrong, I couldn't even find it online. So if I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm going to go with $18 for now. We all know that beans are pretty versatile. You can flavor them a lot of different ways, and they're very healthy. Rice and beans is a very healthy meal. And in a survival situation, it's a lot of calories for, not that much energy to cook them. And again, something that's very shelf stable and something that's pretty cheap. So those are like the big things. Like this is where all your calories come in, right? Oatmeal, rice, and beans. One thing I want to add, because if you just make plain beans and plain rice, that's going to get old really fast. So I always throw in a big thing of garlic. So this is minced garlic. I am super lazy. I don't want to like open garlic and chop it up. I know it's better, but I keep this in the fridge, and this is what I cook with all the time because it's so much easier. And this whole huge thing is $5. So, and it's shelf stable, it's sealed. You can keep it on hand. And then I picked up this Better Than Bouillon. I really like this. You could also get like the powdered bouillon or the cubes of bouillon. Those have MSG a lot of the time. And I don't like MSG, it makes me sick. So I always get Better Than Bouillon. It tastes really good, and it makes really good broth. So instead of having to like carry home these heavy cartons of broth or cans of broth, you could just carry this small container home and have tons of broth. So I haven't bought broth since I discovered this stuff, because it's like, why would I waste my energy trying to haul broth around when I could just add water to this and it's delicious. So I like this because I can, scoop a spoonful and put it in the rice while it cooks, and it flavors the rice really well. Same thing with the garlic. Now, all of these things together, the bouillon is $6. And I'm sure that you could get cheaper, like cubed bouillon, like I said. All of these things together only comes out to $46 if you get it at Costco. So that's less than $50. The calories of all of these things combined is over 80,000 calories. And so if you divide that by 1,200, which is like sort of the minimum daily amount that a person should have, that's 67 days that you could get out of this for one person. Now, of course, if you have a family, you have to divide that by the number of people in your family. So we are 4 of us, my husband and 2 kids. And so for us, this little kit would last us 16 days. So that is a really long time for something that's not taking up a lot of space, and for $50, that is really cheap. Now, if you wanted to add some flavor, you could maybe buy a packet of bacon and freeze it and then add that to the beans. You could, of course, vegetables, or you're probably gonna have some seasoning on hand already if you do any cooking. So that's not something to worry about. But you could do a lot of different things with these foods, even in an emergency. And I will tell you that, especially during the snow, obviously that was a very dramatic survival event. And my kids just did not know that anything bad was happening, really. Like, we made it a fun thing, and we had candles, and we played board games all day, and we just had a good time because we already had the stuff ready for the emergency. And again, it was stuff that they're already used to. It's stuff that we eat all the time. And so they didn't, there wasn't a sense that like, oh, something's wrong, like we're not going to be okay. They knew we were going to be okay because we're just eating our normal dinner that we would always have. And so I would definitely encourage you, stock up on what you can. This is 2 weeks worth. I would recommend having 3 weeks worth at the very minimum. But just get a little bit of extra food in your pantry. All kinds of, I think everybody knows, like I said, I'm so tired of saying the word unprecedented. But I think that we're going to keep saying the word unprecedented. I think that we're just going to keep having some supply chain issues. We're going to keep having lockdowns and things like that. Like, that doesn't seem like it's going away. So get your pantry prepared now. I feel like at $50, this is accessible to pretty much anyone. If you don't have a Costco membership, you could get these things at Walmart or H-E-B. Or any other grocery store near you. I would say to try and get some of that as soon as possible, because we are seeing some supply chain issues, and we've all noticed that inflation is causing the price of groceries to go up a lot. So I would stock up now. There are some things happening in the world, like fertilizer shortages that the farmers are reporting, that may make the price of food go up a lot over the next year. We also see in Europe, we're seeing a lot of chickens culled with avian flu. And so that is probably going to have ripple effects on our food supply. Even if it's not a shortage, it might be that eggs and chicken is more expensive. So, you just always want to be prepared in case prices go way up or things become, it gets hard to buy things. Know what your family needs and know what you like. If your family, eats a lot of bread, you may want to go get a big bag of flour and yeast and be ready to cook your own bread again. I know a lot of us did that when the cough started. That may be something you want to keep, a skill you want to utilize again this year, just in case, the fertilizer thing ends up being a problem and flour goes way up. Just be prepared ahead of time. It can't hurt. I am certainly not saying to go panic buy. I am certainly not saying to build a bunker and have, a ton of food stored. I am just saying whatever it is that your family eats, just make sure you have a buffer. Always keep a couple of weeks of extra food. That way, you can keep living your normal lifestyle even if there is an emergency event, or even just, maybe it's not an emergency, maybe, food, there's just a temporary supply chain issue. So you want to be ready for those things. I hope that that was helpful. I can make some other videos about other ways that I think that you can be prepared without spending a lot of money or a lot of time, just kind of some simple ways that you can be ready for a disaster if that's something that you're interested in. If there's a food that you think that I missed or I should have talked about, then definitely leave it in the comments. I realize I didn't mention meat. We don't really eat meat at my house. I don't like to cook meat, so that's why we're used to eating rice and beans. So maybe your plan has more meat involved, which is fine. But yeah, if you're a meat eater, then leave me a comment and tell me how you prepare for disasters. And yeah, let's talk about it. And hopefully, I can come up with some of the other things that I do and make videos on that as well. So be prepared, be safe, and I'll see you next time.